This is exactly what I've been warning the public about since 2020. And I'm going to keep repeating the same things over and over and over again until it sinks in. But of course, you need to do your own research. It's just my opinion, and I'm sharing with you exactly what I do. I'm an educator. I dive into facts, figures, numbers, logic. I'm disciplined and consistent. I don't believe in hype. I don't believe in bull. I don't believe in riddlers, and I don't believe in get rich quick. I build systems, processes, and structure financially, spiritually, and mentally. And based on these facts, that your dollar has lost 10% of its value in 2025, and from 2020 to 2024, you had a 24% inflation, which is a devaluation of your currency. This is simple math, guys. There's no emotion in math. The dollar doesn't give a shit about you. It has zero emotion. And all it's doing is moving from one hand to the other based on inflation. The elites play a totally different game when the value of the dollar is going down. So since 1913, your dollar has lost 96 to 97% of its purchasing power. So when you see $1 million in your banking account, do the math. It shows you $1 million, that's the trick. It has 3% purchasing power. But they take that million if it's sitting in a bank account, and what do? They beat the hurdle rate. They beat inflation by lending it out to the next person, putting it in the capital markets. So as your money sits stagnant in a bank, what does a bank do to a river? It dams up and it becomes muddy and gross and mossy, and they make it currency. It's that simple. So all money is doing, it's moving through the system from one hand to the other. Jim Rohn says if you give $1 million to every person in society, it's going to end up in the same 1%'s hands because the game has always been the same. It's just different tools and different mechanisms. So as I share with you what I do, I'm not telling you what to do. You need to understand how to beat inflation and hurdle rates. So you have the interest rate, which is how the whole world makes money. That's how the banks make money. And that's how money flows through the system. That's why the interest rates coming down are so important for the survival of Americans, because we're indoctrinated to bury ourselves in debt. And then you got inflation. So as this is going down, simplistically, the big money, the smart money, is moving into gold, hence at an all-time high. Silver is going to skyrocket. Bitcoin is skyrocketing, all-time high. You're going to see XRP, XLM, all your altcoins are going to go all-time high here on the back end of the year. It's just math. It's not riddlers. It's not this. It's an infrastructural change, and we got lucky because we have more tools in our tool belt to beat inflation. Our grandparents and our parents had the S&P, which could beat it if you're consistently invested. I think my CFO said it's like 12% on average. Gold, silver, real estate was a good hedge in the past, becoming unaffordable. But now you have this whole new asset class with fixed supplies like Bitcoin. 21 million, that's it. 95% of it's gone. They mine 450 a day and treasury companies are buying 1,700 a day. That's called supply and demand. Simple math. And you have things like XRP that have 100 billion, but it's because of its utility. But every single time a transaction goes across it as a burn mechanism, it becomes more valuable and it's deflationary. Hence, these are opposite of the inflating US dollar, which deflates the value of your currency. So this is the reality. No emotion, that's a reality. So you clock in at work, you get paid to trade your time for money, you get paid in someone else's debt, there's no money in the system, and you take that debt and buy more debt, becoming more buried. What you should be doing is take anything outside of your debts and non-negotiables, and you should be investing into things that beat, write it down, comment here, inflation and the devaluation of your currency. On average, we run about 2 to 3% inflation. So you're already in a hole. So they're pouring dirt in the hole, inflation. You have a backpack on, which is debt. So every year you get buried. So you're fighting to get that next pay raise. But when you get the next pay raise, you buy more debt because you can't keep up with inflation. So the only way you can buy stuff is to extend your buying power through debt. But who does that make wealthier? Not you, the banks. So here's how I put myself in first position. This is my system. You can use gold, you can use silver. You have to figure out what assets. You need to study them. So it's capital DR, cash flow. I think cash is trash. I move my cash flow outside of paying my bills, debts, and non-negotiables into two things. First move, 10% goes into cash generating dividends that pay me monthly and weekly. So I take my income and I make more income, and that's passive. After that, anything left if the markets are down, I buy in to deflationary assets. My two biggest holdings are XRP and Bitcoin. And I have many others. Watch my other videos. I break down my whole portfolio. I'm very honest on this channel. Very authentic. I share with you exactly what I'm doing. Every single day, I have money coming out of my bank account that goes into XRP and Bitcoin. So every day I'm building my family's wealth. Every month I'm building my family's wealth. And every time I get paid, I buy my family cash flow. So our income goes up every single month. Now the asset side, so there's cash flow. A in capital is appreciating assets that have fixed supply that are deflationary assets, not inflationary assets. They gain value over time. So here's the way you look at it. Go look up Bitcoin. It's straight up over the last 10 years. It's beat every single market. Look at the dollar. It's straight down over the last 20 years. That's simple math, no emotion. You can use gold, you can use silver. Okay, so when those assets, we're gonna move Bitcoin into leverage, okay, which is capital DR. We're gonna move Bitcoin off into leverage. Bitcoin's just a supercharged savings to me. I'm gonna get way more growth out of the altcoins. Move Bitcoin into a supercharged saving category, and we're gonna move over to leverage. I grow at about 50% every single year, so I think that's a pretty good savings account, right? That's crushing inflation, so that beat my rule. All my other assets, all my other cryptos, when they go up, I hold 50% for a moon bag forever, just in case the riddlers are right. And I'm okay with being wrong about the prices, but I don't do price predictions. I do discipline. Big difference. So when it goes up, I ladder out. So everybody's trying to get rich quick. They're coming in to try to get rich quick. I'm selling you my crypto. Boom, 50% of it. Tack, tack, tack. First move is into P, capital DR. P, C-A-P is protection. I use cash value life insurance. We use them correctly. We fund them correctly. But we use them to leverage. Richest man in Babylon. So when I profit, first move is max fund policies. So I have 2 policies that need max funds. So that'll be my first step in November, December. Now, why would I do that? Well, 30% of my wealth is protected. Nobody can touch it. My principal is guaranteed. Get market-like returns, somewhat beating inflation, goes up and down. But how I'm crushing inflation is leverage. Remember, we have Bitcoin over here, and we have insurance over here now. I have 2 leverage categories. So you go borrow a car, get a loan to buy a car to make yourself poor. I go to my own assets to borrow to make myself wealthier. So I'll borrow against my assets to do what? To repeat the process, capital DR, to buy more cash flow that pays off the debt. And then after the debt's paid off, I have free cash flow. Here's an example. As of today, I'm doing this video, our firm just got paid off. So I have a completely debt-free insurance brokerage that I bought. Here's how I did it. We broke off into our own firm. We wanted a boutique firm. We have a small amount of agents. We teach people how to properly use cash value life insurance policy. We built Freedom Insurance. What I did was I took my Bitcoin, put it on a DeFi platform. I borrowed against my Bitcoin, very low leverage. I wanted to, because Bitcoin's very volatile, so be very careful. Leverage is like a match. You can burn your house down or you can light the way. Plus we had other Bitcoin that we could right size just in case the markets came down. So we healed that warning. So I borrowed off my Bitcoin at 14%. They gave me cash, that's tax free. They gave me cash, their money at 14%. So I borrowed their money at 14, they used my Bitcoin as collateral. It's called DeFi. But Bitcoin grows every 50% every year and it went up way more than that this year. So we bought the firm. I bought it with my cash that they gave me, leveraging my Bitcoin, and we just paid the firm off. It took us 6 months. But I made money on borrowing. It was my own money. I borrowed from my own Bitcoin, or they gave me their money with a leveraged loan to my Bitcoin at 14%. Bitcoin grows 50% on average. I made 36% on my money. Now the Bitcoin's paid off. As of today, I just got the email. And now what will I do? I will take low leverage again to do what? To buy more cash flowing assets. And I will repeat the process over and over and over again. And I will repeat the same things on my social over and over and over again. Because what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes your unconscious activities. Why do you think that we are indoctrinated in Americans to live the way we do? Because they taught us at a very young age to go to school, get a job, get a 401k, get 2 15-minute breaks at school, and a 30-minute lunch. Sounds like corporate America doesn't get a good credit score, but when you're wealthy, your credit score doesn't matter. I love you. I appreciate you. And as we always say, Warriors, rise, get your shit together.